All right, hey everybody, welcome to another video about obsessive compulsive disorder and mindfulness. My name is Brian, also known as OCD Mindful. And look, today I want to talk more about what I've already talked about a lot because it bears repeating, and it is pretty much the entire core of what keeps your OCD alive and the thing that you need to do to actually overcome your OCD. And it is all about your willingness to accept living in a world with uncertainty. Okay, it turns out I have a couple of YouTube minions, it seems. So there's a number of people who work with me who will often hit me up and say, I saw so-and-so video on YouTube. Something seems slightly off about it, but could you watch it and tell me what you think? And that's fine. If I have the time, I can go watch it and tell people what I think. And yeah, there's a couple people out there that are out commenting on other people's YouTube videos, and that's fine. I'm not gonna go on anyone else's page and comment. I'm not gonna get into like a YouTube war about OCD treatment with people. But the fact is, as I've mentioned in other videos as well, there is bad information out there. There are people giving away free information. Most of them aren't licensed. Most of them aren't professional therapists. And a lot of them weren't even OCD sufferers themselves. So it's hard to know what to trust, and it's hard to know what not to trust. For me, I'm a certified mindfulness instructor. I am not a licensed therapist. I am looking into going back to getting my LCSW, licensed clinical social worker degree. But really, it's just so I can be a little bit more trustworthy on these topics. I have looked into the coursework, and it's not a whole lot to do with OCD. So, you know, it's hard. I would say you have to vet me the same way you're vetting anybody else. But what I will say is I don't stray away from the best information by the best professional, you know, neurologists and OCD experts and mindfulness practitioners as well. So for me, my goal is to combine the elements that helped me so much with mindfulness, apply them to your treatment of OCD. The treatment being the actual treatment of OCD, exposure response prevention, and the acceptance of uncertainty. So just so you guys are clear about how important uncertainty is, this is a book I mention a lot. Grayson is someone who I worked with personally for a long time. I don't know if this will be backwards in the video, but the title of this book is Freedom from Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, a personalized recovery program for living with uncertainty. Okay, living with uncertainty. Accepting uncertainty is the entire core of this treatment. Okay, it's not just like something you can skirt that part and then go do the exposure response prevention stuff and think you're gonna get better. The reason we do the exposure response prevention is to increase our tolerance of uncertainty, right? The entire reason you have OCD and the person next to you doesn't is because you can't tolerate uncertainty the same way that they can. They don't actually have any more certainty than you do. They seriously don't. They feel like they do because they don't have an intolerance for uncertainty. Okay, so it is funny. I mean, right? This is the whole problem for OCD sufferers. It's our intolerance for uncertainty that makes us feel like we have so much more uncertainty. So treatment, in order to get better, is to confront the very thing that you fear the most. Treatment sucks for OCD people. It's the last thing they want to hear. And this is a reason why I think so many people, you know, like a moth to the flame, love to read articles and watch YouTube videos online that aren't suggesting the actual treatment for getting better. You know, so someone did point out to me recently some videos to go watch where the person making the video simply wasn't addressing the need to learn to accept and live in a world with uncertainty. In fact, even goes as far as to say in the comment section, like, no, you don't need to accept uncertainty to get better. Guys, again, vet me, go read professionals, go work with a professional. That is the worst piece of advice that you can get about your OCD. I know it sounds good because it gives you something that you want. It makes it feel like you can retain doing all the things that you're doing to maintain your certainty and that you can still get better from the treatment. It's not. So I just want to read, chapter 5 in Grayson's book. And trust me, I mean, I got a bookshelf up here with every professional therapist that has written about OCD. I come back to this one a lot. One, because I worked with Grayson. And two, I think he does the best work on getting people to understand the importance of accepting uncertainty. I wish more people would hit this, because if you can work on that, if you can actually understand what that means and realize that exposure response prevention is only being done to further your tolerance for uncertainty, then you understand the entire core of treatment. All right. So chapter 5, I'm just going to read a little bit of this. I do recommend that you go get this book. You probably get it on your phone or on your computer for like $10. All right, chapter 5, accepting uncertainty, your first step. Any change you make in your life involves choosing goals and then breaking them down into smaller sub-goals that will determine the actions you will have to achieve your major goals. Thus, the process of treatment for your OCD, whether self or professionally directed, involves choosing specific goals and finding the best way to achieve them. And the definition of best is quite simply what is most likely to work. The self-guided program you will be designing in the pages to come won't work if you don't embrace its goals. Your major goal in overcoming OCD, you wouldn't be reading this book if you didn't want to escape this monster. But wanting to overcome OCD isn't enough. The first step you will take to conquer your OCD is both the easiest and the hardest. It is the easiest because you aren't required to change any of your behaviors. You merely have to answer a question. It is the hardest because your answer will change the way you view your life and your future. The question is simple, but its answer is critical. I believe the success or failure of treatment depends on your response. The goal of this chapter is to guide you to answer that will bring, the goal of this chapter is to guide you to the answer that will bring freedom. The question, are you willing to learn to live with uncertainty? Don't say yes without thinking about it. There are reasons for you to be afraid of answering yes, because yes means wanting to live in a world where harm might come to you or your loved ones, and it could be your fault. You might kill someone you love. Maybe you're evil. Maybe you've committed sins. Maybe some thoughts will always be with you. Maybe you will be gay tomorrow. Maybe it is possible to live comfortably and be aware of such possibilities in a world where anything can happen. Okay, and obviously there's a ton more. I thoroughly agree with this as someone who had to go through this and did what I now see every OCD sufferer doing who's looking for an answer without actually seeing a therapist. They are trying to wiggle around this core concept. They think that there's something else. They think that there's some friendlier, easier, nicer, less anxiety-provoking way to do this. So to accept uncertainty doesn't mean that you're accepting that your fear will come true or already has come true. It simply means that you can't get certainty. You can't know for sure. And the whole reason that OCD folks do rituals and avoid certain things and all the things that we do is to get certainty. Okay, so if you are willing to accept living in a world with uncertainty and you mean it, you have already made a gigantic leap towards actually getting better from your OCD. Okay, now as John points out here, it's and I've pointed out here on other videos, it's not a question of just answering yes or no, right? Everybody says yes, they don't mean it. I said yes, I didn't mean it for probably 3-4 years. I was doing exactly what other people are doing here. I was looking for an easier way. While lying to myself, by the way, and lying to my therapist and saying, yes, 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 I'm willing to live in a world with uncertainty. When I finally got this and finally made that switch and truly embraced not knowing and truly just embraced the idea that, okay, look, I know I can't get an answer to this. It feels like I have to right now, but reminding myself I don't have to. I can go live my life without this answer. Just imagine for a second you can't ever get that answer. The thing that bothers you the most, it seems like the most important issue in the world. Just imagine right now that the ability to know for sure is gone. There's no way you're ever going to find out. It sucks. It seems really hard. Okay, one, it isn't that bleak. That's not what's going to happen to you. But until you accept uncertainty, you are never going to get to a point where these things don't bother you that much, right? You can live your life without knowing for sure, okay? And again, I've seen comments back and forth now where people say, no one's just going to accept uncertainty. We don't have to go to those lengths. Yes, you do. Seriously, there is no way around it. Yes, you do. If you want to get, I wish Grayson would have even said in this book, it's not your first step. It's your first step, but it's 99% of the whole thing. It's the biggest step, you know? So the thing that keeps your OCD alive, as I've just mentioned, is your intolerance of uncertainty, right? Like I often hear people say stuff like, oh, I wish someone could understand what it's like to suffer with the form of OCD that I do. And I often think about that, like, okay, what if I could just transplant into somebody else's body and brain what it was like when I was really struggling with OCD? Well, here's what it would be like for real. They'd probably get a pretty immediate pang of anxiety and something wouldn't feel right. But since they don't have such a low threshold for uncertainty, it would just go away. It wouldn't stick with them. That's the sticking point for us, is that we demand certainty on things that, one, we can't get certainty for, and our demand for certainty only makes us feel less certain. All right? I hope this is making sense. It seems like a complicated concept, but it really isn't. And like I said, this is the cake. This is the whole cake. All the other little details are icing on the cake. Accepting uncertainty, accepting that you can't know for sure, does not mean that your fears will come true or have come true already. It simply means you're stopping all of the rituals to guarantee that they can't come true. And you're accepting there is a possibility that they will come true. Okay? Hey, do me a favor. Leave a comment instead of emailing me directly. This way I can answer them here. Other people can read them. It's a good forum. And give this a like and a subscribe. I'm making weekly videos now. You can also check me out on Instagram at ocdmindful.com. All right, guys, until next time, take care.